Assalamualaikum and hi everyone. My name is Siti Nur Adawiyah Kamarina binti Muhammad Nazami. My metric number is 281 and 326. So today I would like to share with all of you about Skinner-Operant conditioning experiment in 1948. First of all, Skinner-Operant conditioning experiment was proposed by Burrhus Frederick Skinner, that was commonly known as B.F. Skinner. Operant conditioning is a method of learning normally attributed to B.F. Skinner, which is the consequences of a response determine that the probability of it being repeated. Skinner believed that behavior which is reinforced will likely to be repeated and behavior which is punished will occur less frequently. The work of Skinner was rooted in a view that classical conditioning was far too simple to be a complete explanation of complex human behavior. He believed that the best way to understand behavior is to look at the causes of an action and its consequences. His idea that learning is the result of consequences is based on the law of effect, which was first proposed by psychologist Edward Thorndike. According to the law of effect, behaviors that are followed by consequences that are satisfying to the organism are more likely to be repeated, and behaviors that are followed by unpleasant consequences are less likely to be repeated by Thorndike in 1911. As for the experiment, Skinner in 1948 studied operant conditioning by conducting experiment using animals such as rat, which he placed the rat in a Skinner box. Basically, Skinner box is the operant conditioning chamber where Skinner can record the animal behavior in compressed time frame. As you all can see, in the Skinner box, there are speakers, signal lights, lever, and electric grid. Then, for the outer box, there are pellet dispenser, dispenser tube, and food cup. B.F. Skinner described the positive reinforcement term in the operant conditioning theory. In positive reinforcement, a response of behavior is threatened by rewards, leading to the repetition of desired behavior. So now, I will explain to all of you how was the experiment will be done on the rat. Firstly, Skinner was placing a hungry rat in the box. The box contained a lever on the side, and as the rat moved around the box, it will accidentally knock down the lever. Immediately it did so, a food pellet would drop into a container next to the lever. The rats quickly learned to go straight to the lever after a few times of being put in the box. The consequence of receiving food if they press the lever ensure that they would repeat the action again and again due to the positive reinforcement occurs happen. Then, for the negative reinforcement, Skinner put the rat in the Skinner box together with an unpleasant electric current which caused the rat some discomfort. As the rat once again moved around the box, the rat accidentally knocked down the lever and immediately the electric current would switch off. The rats then quickly learned to go straight to the lever after a few times of being put in the box. The consequences of escaping the electric ensure that they will repeat the action again and again, which also means that the negative reinforcement happened. So next, for the operant conditioning theory, this theory was specialized in positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement, and punishment. To put it simple, adding positive reinforcement will increase one behaviors and negative reinforcement happen when something is removed to increase one behavior. As for the punishment occurs to weaken one behavior. Like reinforcement, punishment can work either by directly applying an unpleasant stimulus like a shock after a response or by removing a potentially rewarding stimulus. Next, for the behavioral therapy, we'll use techniques such as reinforcement, punishment, shaping, extinction, and modeling to alter one's behavior. For example, in an early childhood education field, as a teachers, we can encourage the kids to do their homework by giving a chocolate as a token after they could finish their homework. In my opinion, we all know how much kids gonna love to eat chocolates. So, by giving them what they like could increase their determination to repeat the doings homework behaviors. Thus, for the negative reinforcement, as a parents, we could imply this behavioral therapy towards our children. For instance, we want our children to clean up his or her toys after playing. If our children didn't want to clean up the toys, we must set a rules such as no more playing toys or no more buying a new toy so that they could understand in order for them to playing the toys again, they need to clean up after playing. Okay, then there are also positive and negative punishment that many people confuse with negative reinforcement with punishment in operant conditioning, but there are two very different mechanisms. Remember that reinforcement, even when it is negative, always increase a behavior. In contrast, punishment always decrease a behavior. In positive punishment, you add an undesirable stimulus to decrease a behavior. For example, a parent can make a rule towards a children, such as if they play their online games more than 2 hours, their smartphone needs to be taken. These kinds of positive punishment could make the children playing game excessively behavior decreasing. Next, for the negative punishment, as a teacher, the teacher could deduct his or her student marks if they send their homework after the deadline without any important reason, so that the student will be aware that their grade might be not excellent just because of the late submission. Thus, for the extinction, another way to produce behavior changes is to stop reinforcing behavior in order to eliminate the response. Times out are a perfect example of the extinction process. During a timeout, a person is removed from a situation that provides reinforcement by taking away what the person found rewarding. Unwanted behavior is eventually extinguished. As for the behavior modeling, this technique involves learning through observation and modeling the behavior of others. Rather than relying simply on reinforcement or punishment, modelings allow individuals to learn new skills or acceptable behavior by watching someone else perform those desired skills. As in a counseling or psychology field, behavioral therapy could be advantageous to the helping profession in a wide range of psychological conditions and disorders, including bipolar disorders, alcohol and substance use disorder, anxiety, attention deficit or hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, autism spectrum disorder, and others. Besides that, behavioral therapy also was very known in education field, in an occupation, as a parents and another else. I believe that most of the individual life was implemented with all this behavioral therapy even without we notice about it. Okay, last but not least, in my opinion, the Skinner operant conditioning experiment that have been implemented by B.F. Skinner in 1948 have given a lot of advantages in understanding the behavior and society nowadays, because we can apply all the behavioral therapy to alter one behavior. For instance, as an educators, they could know the alternative that they can use to help their student in learning progress. Learning about the Skinner operant conditioning experiment also make a realize that giving a reinforcement to someone could increase their motivation in order to achieve something. Thus, the rewards could be in anything such as token, incentive, praising, and others. For me, even the smallest reinforce could help ones to fulfill their desire and needs. We also can use the behavioral therapy in many fields such as education, occupation, in family, and even for the helping profession such as counselor and psychologists. Thus, for the society, the member of society itself, should have a responsibility to be understanding about human behavior as we live in a multicultural and diversity environment. I believe that learning and implying this Skinner operant conditioning experiment by B.F. Skinner also could give me a lot of advantages to me as a trainer counselor in order to meet the needs of my client and society. That's all from me. Thank you.